being coachable.
I'm just starting the recording because I feel like it was getting good already. Can
Yes,
you say that one
gotta
more
be
time? What did that
coachable.
business coach challenge you to do?
Yeah, so I had a business coach and she challenged us, and we were all in there launching businesses. So some of us had business ideas, some of us kind of were already launched, but we needed like to get over that hump. And the challenge was, how do you get out of your market, right? How do you market on Facebook? And she challenged us. I challenge you guys to request 10 people today. Like, don't even be judgmental, just go request them. And I did it. That was about a year ago. So I have not stopped getting friend requests since that day. So I no longer had to chase the audience. The audience now chases me. I was very purposeful and business minded, entrepreneurial women. Um, they had to be talking about something purposeful that was going to pour into my spirit, whether it was emotionally, mentally. But it was a great experiment in just being coachable, something that really worked out. And I do believe that was God telling me to, don't be scared, put yourself out there. And that's how I'm sure I stumbled upon the ladies, and that's how I got in the group.
Wow. Listen, I love that. That's a lot of what I teach is like, get out of your shell. You know what I'm saying? People who probably
Mm-hmm.
been in your Facebook list, been there forever. And some of them ain't even paying no attention no more. And so I love that you're doing that because that's how this amazing relationship happened. And so those of you who are watching, those of you who will be on our replay, take that nugget. That's a nugget already. Go
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
be a community. I actually was doing a coaching program and they said literally your next, your millions, your Oprah, your whoever's gonna open up the door and make room for you, they're looking for you. But if they can't see you, then you gotta make your way there. You gotta open up the doors for yourself by showing up and being a kid.
Absolutely.
I love it. All right, ladies, but I don't want to waste your time. I'll still let people in as we go. But this is Sis Get Up and Boss. We're talking about life insurance. It's April 13th, 2023 for the replays. Listen, if you are not in our community, make sure you jump on Facebook, find us. It's Sis Get Up and Boss. Tonight we'll be having an amazing presenter, Miss Rachel, and she will be coming in here telling us about life insurance. But before we jump into it, I just want to do a little bit of connection. We have a few ladies on early. And so, ladies, if you get a minute, if you're not shy, I always tell people this YouTube that we got is going to blow up one day. And when they come and watch our replays, they're going to see you. And so go ahead and shout your business out. Let people know who you are, what you do, and then what you're looking to gain tonight. That's how we usually kick off these classes. And so I'll go first. Of course, I'm the founder of the Sis Get Up community, but I always say that's not just my group. We are in there together. So show up, boss, go live, drop gems, whatever you want to do. Make sure you boss and make sure you're showing up. That's what we want to hear. Not only that, I am also a publisher. I publish people who have books. And so if you ever want to tell your story, if you want to get that journal, that workbook, that cookbook, whatever you got out there, I'm your girl, author overnight, publications and designs. That's what I do. And tonight I'm just looking to gain more knowledge into the life insurance. I feel like it's a lot of information out there, and so to find somebody that you trust to give you the right information is key. And so I'm looking for the right information on how to cover me and my family. So that's what I'm here for tonight. And whoever wants to go next, don't make me call y'all.
I'll go next. Let me turn my camera on really quick though.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Kiana. I'm one of the moderators in Sis Get Up, and I kind of do a little bit of everything, I guess. And what I'm here today to learn about, just the whole logistics of what I can use these tools to further my business. I feel like I never really taken the steps necessary to learn. It's kind of just like whatever falls in my lap, I utilize those tools. So it's nice to be able to have the resources like these classes to actually take that time to learn those different things that I'll need to use instead of waiting until it's time for me to use them and it's too late. So
Kiana always downplay herself. Real quick, we would literally not be doing anything without her. She's behind the scenes doing so much. She's so gifted, so talented. So follow her. Miss Chantel, I'm gonna call you because I love you. Yeah.
I knew you were getting ready to call me.
Already know.
I'm Chantel. I am, I should say, aspiring CEO of Brick by Brick, which is a nonprofit that is I'm moving forward with this year because it's been on me forever. And whoo, I got some spiritual things I'm dealing with. I'm not gonna go all into that right now, but just life insurance is important. So I do have life insurance, but I'm always looking to learn more about it and how it can help. I guess for me, it's a mindset thing because a lot of my family does not think about having a policy, and my pastor has been one that stayed on us about hey, why do we always have to cook chicken and do all this stuff because you didn't take care of what you needed to take care of. So I said, I don't want nobody doing no GoFundMe for me personally. I'm a mom, single mom of 4 children. I'm I don't want to go that route. So I'm just intrigued and looking to learn more in general. So I digress.
Yes, I love it. Thank you so much, sis, for sharing. It's Shay, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Hey,
Sorry.
girl, I'm sorry.
Talking on mute. Let me turn off the mute here and turn on the picture.
Let's see your beautiful face. Hey, girl. I love your brain.
Thank you. So I'm Shay, and I am the CEO and owner of Align Integrated Solutions. And what I do there is I am a CRM and a lead generation specialist. So I actually spent about 7 or 8 years in corporate America doing that for the financial companies, one of the largest banks in America. So I got pretty good at it. I got good at doing this. And so I'm what I like to call a hidden secret, because I've learned that if big companies need this, then definitely small businesses need this. So so I enjoy creating systems that bring in customers, manage them, and then also grow the business. So basically, it's an all-in-one encompassing, I guess, picture for the business. So I strategize, and then we implement, and then we execute. So that's the way that works. So I'm excited to get started. I recently, literally within the last month and a half, left corporate America to go out on my own. So it's been a journey. It's been a blessing. God has been by my side, and there's nothing that can replace actually just stepping out on faith. Nothing can replace just actually going and doing it. I mean, you can talk about it, you can dream about it, you can do everything, but literally, I think that the hardest thing for us and entrepreneurs, women, is to just do it and not feel like, and you're gonna fail, you're gonna, not know what you're doing, you're gonna do all those things, but that's all part of the journey. And I've really been blessed to start this journey with so many wonderful connections, women, and it's God. It's like I had to let go for all this to happen, because I was like, I can do the job, but God has something greater. So, and I have a greater purpose. So I'm so glad to be here tonight. I've known Rachel for forever. So we went to school together, and it's been an amazing. We've done business together before, and she's amazing. Wealth of knowledge, ambitious, encouraging. So many great things. So I'm so happy to be here. What I want to gain from tonight is I'm all about the wealth journey. Wealth, wealth, wealth. I want to not have like fake wealth, like nice stuff or whatever. I want to have real wealth. Like I might look whatever on the outside, but check my bank account or check my, my my stats,
Check those statements, man.
Okay. Over here high-fiving you. That well. I want that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that's I grew up not having that, like nobody told me about life insurance. I think the last thing we learn about, honestly, in our lives is finances. So I am unlearning a lot of things and relearning a lot of things. And it's hard because it's like that's my identity, like a little bit, because I don't know any better. But it's been great. And having again this having Rachel and having this she's a great wealth of knowledge and genuine people who want to help you. They're not just trying to do whatever. And I think that's great. So I'm ready to learn what you got. So thank you guys for inviting me. I hope to connect with all of you guys. And so, thank you.
Listen, Shay, you a wealth of knowledge, sis. You literally came through.
And she is.
I'm gonna have to connect with you. You sound like I've definitely been looking for you. Help me grow my business and scale and all that. So I'm super excited that we're all here, and I can't wait to learn from Miss Rachel. And so without further ado, sis, go ahead, take the floor, and let's learn about life insurance.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen here, and you guys let me know if you can see it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. Let me move my Zoom controls because they drive me crazy every call. All right, guys, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Rachel Pettis. I'm 42 years old, and for the last 20 years by trade, I have been a retail manager. I started off at Ohio State as a pharmacy major. I walked into a mall downtown, figured out I was good at selling. About a month in, my commission checks were bigger than my hourly checks. And I went to my manager and I was like, hey, I kind of like this. It was a hell of a lot more fun than chemistry at 7:30 a.m. So I kind of got bit by the sales bug by connecting with people. And since then, I've run some companies that you guys probably have shopped at. I've ran DSWs before, Ulta, most recently Macy's. And I'll tell you guys how I got into entrepreneurship, how I got into really understanding money is for the past 8 years, I was relocating because I was chasing the top, right? I was climbing up the career chain and, just working hard. And I've given up so many Christmases and Easters and, everything for a career. And during COVID, the store shut down. And so I spent 4 weeks, and I want you guys to picture your local Macy's, right? So for 4 weeks, I was in Macy's by myself. When I tell you guys, I literally refolded every piece of jean in there, right? So the grandma jeans, the men's Levi's, the women's Levi's, the kids' polo jeans, I had folded it all in anticipation for the store to reopen, right? Once customers came back. During this time period, I probably spent 3 of those weeks deciding which one of my colleagues would have a job when we came back because I was the budget cutter, right? I spent all of the time cleaning my own toilet that I used, all of these things, like there was no more registers clanging. And I started to realize one day when I was literally pushing a table across the floor and I looked at myself in the mirror, guys, I was sweaty. I had this tank top on, like I was by myself. And I really looked at myself like, God, like, how did I put 20 years in? Because like 3 weeks ago, I was like this executive that rolled up to this building that I'm like, oh, I'm the CEO of this Macy's store. Guys, COVID taught me, no, sis, you're a highly paid essential employee because everybody else was at home making more money on unemployment. And I was in the store by myself going crazy, refolding jeans, right? And then fast forward to George Floyd. The store I worked in, guys, had a riot. And at the end of this riot, after there was blood on the floor, right? So all the Michael Kors purses, you imagine cords cut, jewelry case, banged in, blood is everywhere. No one is in the store at this point but me and my husband, who does not work for Macy's, okay? Doors are busted out. The cops are like, hey, we got to go to Walmart. Other stuff's happening in the city. And the first question I was asked was, hey, do you guys think you can clean up the store and still open tomorrow? And in that moment, I realized that I was not the CEO of a store. I was a highly paid essential employee that did not mean anything. This 20 years I put in was not what it was, right? Like And when I tell you guys, like on top of dealing with civil injustice, right? I also in this time period realized I was making less than the other store managers in the company, right? So I'm like a highly paid essential employee that's not that highly paid anymore. I'm by myself, I'm going crazy. I'm in a state, in a city where it's just me, my husband, and my kids. And I'm having this whole epiphany and paradigm shift of everything you thought you were, you are not. And God starts speaking to me. Romans 8:18, it says, I consider that our present sufferings are not worth the glory that will be revealed in us. And I have lived off that. It has got me through every single struggle. So while some people are like, girl, you had a great job, like it's hard to relocate. It's hard to be by yourself during COVID. It's hard to deal with how I had to show up, right, in a mostly white city and store, being a Black person, and had to set some of my feelings aside. And then to know at the end of the day, they just want to know, can I clean it up and can we start making money tomorrow? Really led me to today to tell you guys, I'm on week 1, day 4, being retired from retail. I'm a full-time entrepreneur, and I'm going to pour everything that God has given to me into educating families, our community, about life insurance, about anything that I have learned in that time. And I just launched it because you know what? I've given up so many Christmases. I have given up so many holidays. Easter, my oldest turned 18 last month. And I was like, what happened? Everything I thought was important, this example I was setting for them, I felt like I missed out. They feel like they do have a good example, but I'm not missing out on anything else. So that's why I'm here. That's why I launched into this. That's why I have been trying to be faithful, guys, for the last 3 years, to just connect with other ladies like you, pour into you, let you pour into me, and let's see what we can do. And if we can take over and educate our communities and pull us out, because somebody's got to do it. And listen, guys, I'm signing up for the army of Black women pulling our culture and whoever else we have to pull out of whatever this is that we are in. I can go on and on. That's a little bit about me, but I just want you guys to understand that, I mean, I walked away from that job after 20 years, after the most recent 5 years there, feeling like I left it all on the court, right? I can drop the mic and go on into this. And I'm going full speed into this because there's such a big need for us to understand finances and how things work. Let me get this slide to go the right way. All right, guys, so we're going to dive right in. So some of the facts about life insurance. Number one, it's very simple. It's cheaper the younger you are when you get it. It grows more the sooner you start. So life insurance, for the most part, it's a time-based investment. So I believe it was Kiana that said, she really wants to use it as a tool. So when you think about life insurance, really, I don't even want you guys to think about it as a bill. Think about it as a tool. Like, life insurance is a tool for wealth. Basically, life insurance, in my opinion, is like buying money, right? You're buying wealth. You just got to know what to buy, when to buy it, and what strategy is going to work. The second thing I think that most people don't know is you can get covered if you have pre-existing conditions. I have a peer who has gotten someone covered with HIV. I've gotten people covered with diabetes. There are policies that will cover someone with almost every health condition. Now, it's not going to be the cheapest policy that you can get, but there are options for companies that will cover. And here's some stats, guys. 38 million households in the US don't have life insurance. That's about half. 8,000 people, guys, statistically die in the US every day. 8,000 of us leave this United States, and that's just in the US. It's not the world, it's just the US. The average funeral in the United States, guys, ranges from $7,600 to $12,000, which is astronomical. And even an average cremation is from $4,000 to $7,000. So if you guys think about that, the statistic about savings is most households right now, guys, don't have $1,000 in their savings account. So the reality is we can't afford our own funeral if we don't have the money. And if you guys are similar to me, 30s and 40s with aging parents, we can't afford to bury them. And even when we pool money together with all of our siblings, we may come up short. And the reality is there's a better way, and it's life insurance. And we'll kind of get to that as we go on through here. So there's multiple reasons to own your policy. And what I mean when you own it, what I mean is you're paying for this out of your pocket. So this is not the life insurance that Macy's used to provide me or your job provides you. This is a policy that you own yourself. First benefit is you won't lose it if you lose your job or stop working. So when you guys are leaving corporate America to launch these fabulous businesses, if you've been working there for the last 30 years and got life insurance when you were 18, right, and it was $10 a month, you're going to have a little bit of sticker shock when you come out of there. So again, it's why you want to own your own policy and get it younger and when you're in better health. In some cases, your life insurance policy can be used as collateral. So for example, if you are applying for a loan or a house or certain things, if you have a life insurance policy that will cover the amount of that asset you are asking for, and sometimes a life insurance policy properly structured can act as collateral. There's other policies that you can borrow money from yourself and you can be your own bank. So when you hear celebrities, I think like Waka Flocka talks about how he puts hundreds of thousands of dollars into life insurance. And basically what he does is he borrows the money back out of it. So basically you are borrowing tax-free, you're borrowing penalty-free, you're borrowing from yourself, which means no credit check, no loan documents. So business owners that you guys have, I would say 10K and above to invest, that's when you want to start thinking about infinite banking. And this is also liquid money. So if you're a real estate investor or you have a business that you need your capital to be pretty liquid and you need it to be easily accessible, and you can be doing multiple different things at once. And if you're great at paying bills, you need to be looking into life insurance where you can be your own bank and utilize infinite banking concepts. Money in life insurance, guys, is typically safe from lawsuits. It's also safe from things like child support, for some of our men folk that we need to keep, their finances in the home. So it's a good way to save your own money, use your own money in a way that is not subject to legal. You also have control over certain policy features. So certain policies you can increase or decrease the death benefit, so the amount that your family would get if you pass away. Some of these policies you can vary the amount that you pay. So right now, for example, if you're like, my budget is I can pay $50 a month, but as you get older and your income grows, you can put in $200 a month, and then you can flex your death benefit and the premiums over time. Life insurance is absolutely a wealth building tool. I can't stress that enough. The other thing that is extremely important in life insurance, and this is the one thing that I need you guys to write down: living benefits. Most of your work policies are not going to have living benefits, and I'll explain why in a second. A living benefit in these policies are, I have a life insurance policy, and tomorrow, I have a life insurance policy and it's for $200,000. Tomorrow I go to the doctor, I'm diagnosed with cancer. I now cannot work. Eventually, in these sometimes situations where people end up losing their job because, some of jobs you got to be at work to keep your job. It just is what it is. Living benefits allow you to tap into that $200,000 or whatever your death benefit is. You tap into that, and then you get a lump sum of money, and you then take that money and you pay your bills, you pay your mortgage, you keep your business afloat, you keep your kids in daycare, whatever it is that you need to use the money for, you are now using that money for. So living benefits is extremely important. Living benefits are extremely important in policies that our parents have. So if you guys have parents and they're like, I have a life insurance policy, if you have, if you're 40, 50, you have a spouse that's around that age and you guys have life insurance, you need to really dig in and see if you have those benefits, because they're game changers in terms of saving your finances, honestly. The statistic in the US, guys, is a $500, give or take, shortfall in a budget or a medical bill, and a combination of the two is what leads to a lot of bankruptcies. So living benefits in your insurance policy are a key. Like, literally, do not buy an insurance policy if living benefits aren't a thing, and your agent would know exactly what that is. So it's not like they can not accidentally not give it to you. It's definitely something that you would want. And then I'm just going to tell you guys a couple facts about banks, and I'm only talking really about banks for a second in terms of banks versus life insurance policies, and banks and their savings vehicles versus utilizing insurance, and kind of the difference. And the other thing, the reason why I talk about this is because in the news lately, right, a lot of banks have collapsed. And so I think that a lot of people don't understand what banks actually do with our money. And that's something that we need to be taught. I'll tell you guys, on a very basic level, we're taught to put money into savings accounts, right? And I used to give this example when I was teaching trading. If you go into a bank on January 1st and you put in $200 into your bank, just a regular savings account, and the bank's like, great, Desiree, we're going to give you 0.01% interest on this $200. And you're like, great, thanks for the interest, right? Because we're told to save our money, get interest, right? So that $200, if Desiree puts no more money in it for the rest of the year, at the end of the year, her $200, the bank is going to give her about $3.65. That's what about 0.1% interest is on $200. Now that I'm saying that out loud, we can understand, like, that's crazy for you to tell me that. Like, I'm going to give you $200, you're going to give me $4 at the end of the year. Guys, you probably can take that $200 yourself and just beg somebody on the street, right? And you get more than $4 in the course of a year. But I say that to say banks put our money in life insurance because life insurance is stable. Life insurance cannot risk your money the way a bank can. A bank typically has our money in the Forex market, which is currency trading. They have it in life insurance, which I'm showing you on the screen. They have it in mortgages, right? College education loans, vehicle loans, and their own investments that they hold. And then some they have to have in a reserve. So I have a question for you guys. So if you guys walked into your local bank tomorrow, how much money would you guys guess that like your local bank branch has? Like the one you walk into, how much money, cash on hand, do you guys think is in that bank like today? And I want you guys to drop it in the chat.
10,000.
10,000? Anybody else to have a guess? So your local bank, guys, if you walk into the bank, 50K. So Kiana, you're spot on. So your local bank only has about 50K, or it probably, let's see, yeah. And I think like a bank, so your big bank downtown might have 200K. That blew me away. But ladies, right now, all 7 of us, if we had 10K, 50K, right? If we just went right to our local bank and was like, okay, I need my savings account, I need my business account, I need my checking account. All 7 of us couldn't walk into our local bank tomorrow and ask for our money on the same day. They'd be like, you didn't call first, because they don't have the cash on hand, which kind of lends to the cashless society and a lot of other things that we're going to. But banks versus life insurance, here's another thing. As of April 2023, the reserve requirement for your bank in the US is 0% of the first $18.1 million in deposits that they take, and only 10% over that amount. So what I'm telling you is, if you go into your bank, any of these banks probably listed on this screen, and give them 100K today in cash, they're not going to have it tomorrow, because they don't have it. And they're not legally required to keep it in a reserve, because they are allowed to flat out gamble with the first $18.1 million we as consumers give them. So again, loans, right? Subpar loans, great loans, mortgage loans. We put some of it in life insurance. They trade some of it in the market, right? Some of it's invested here and there. But the difference is your life insurance policies, life insurance companies have to have 110% minimally of what they are going to contract it to pay out. So they can't even take our money if they don't have the wherewithal to pay out. So those are just a couple things when we think about banks. And I'm not telling you guys where to invest, how to invest. I'm just kind of sharing some facts that I've learned recently in, my financial literacy education journey. So for life insurance, which situation would you rather leave your family in? And it's pretty much just one side or the other. So with life insurance, guys, you pass away, your family grieves, they've got to find money to bury you. They've also got to find money to maybe pay your portion of the debt, right? Car notes, rent, mortgage, daycare. If you think about all the bills in your house, if you're a stay-at-home mom or if you're the breadwinner, sometimes these are even more glaring. Like if you pay all the bills and you pass away tomorrow, how long does it take for your family to start struggling, right? Is it day 1? Is it day 30? Is it never? And it's really the difference, right? Without life insurance, your family may have to take on more debt, loans, credit cards to bury you. And then the worst that Chantel mentioned is you may end up on GoFundMe, right? Your relatives are now arguing. They're either arguing or they're bonding over paying the experiences. Guys, there's over 500,000 GoFundMe right now. And so the reality is, like, there's just not room for us to go on GoFundMe, right? Pastors, churches, pastors that I'm running into now, they're like, can you come speak and educate? Like, can you come talk about it? Like, they want to support, but the reality is, guys, like, we're just not in a position financially, really, like no one in America, unless you really were raised rich, you just don't have the money for the funeral and all of the other things that come on. So the difference is, guys, with insurance, you still pass away and your family does grieve. The difference is they now have money to bury you, right? They can plan a celebration, a memorial that honors your memories. And then they have a different peace of mind about debt and expenses, right? Debt and expenses are, it breaks up marriages. It always just causes stress. Like some of us have so much money anxiety, we can't even make it, much less think about what you would do without it. The other thing, insurance, you can potentially pay off the rent, right? Or your house. You can save for college education that your mate, you guys were planning, right? Daycare is now taken care of. And then when you think about starting policies for your children when they're young, do they want to go to apprentice school? Do they want to go to, esthetician school, something different that's not traditional college? Have you thought about sending your kids studying abroad? Do you want to buy them a car at 16? Are you wanting to leverage life insurance to start your own business? Some of those be your own bank policies. Do you want to be a real estate investor? So literally all of the things that we are learning as aspiring business owners, all of the finances that we're praying for, that we are going to come into, I encourage you guys to talk to someone about how can you start saving some of it in life insurance and how can you just kind of leverage it. And at the minimal, get some for yourself. And so I'm going to transition, guys, into the three main types of life insurance. And so this is where you guys kind of want to really take notes of the different details. So the first one I'm going to talk about is term insurance. Term insurance is temporary insurance. The advantages of term insurance is it's super cheap. It is low cost for higher dollar amounts. So these are some of the policies where somebody might be paying, I think I have a policy right now, I pay about $29 a month for $300,000 of coverage. And I did that for the next reason. So it can be used as income replacement or mortgage protection. So when I was working, I was the most of the breadwinner. So if I passed away, I knew right away that insurance policy would pay off the house. So my husband wouldn't have to worry about that. That was our biggest bill. The insurance policy, guys, is paid out to beneficiaries. So you're not going to have to go through probate court. So the government and your local jurisdiction is not going to slash through all of your money and then leave you with nothing. You can use this to cover education expenses for younger children. These policies also offer the living benefits I talked about, where you can draw money out. These policies are best for ages 18 to 60 if you have a limited budget. A term policy is a great starter policy. So if you are on the call and you're like, okay, I have nothing, but you have young children, babies, a lot of years to care for someone else other than yourself, you may want to get a term policy. And at the end of the day, you just need something. And the last advantage is these policies are convertible. So if today you're like, I only can afford $20 a month, I need to get something. And then again, further down the road, you can upgrade and convert into something permanent. Disadvantages of term is it does expire. Because of the high dollar amount of coverage you can get, term insurance is actually harder to get for people with health issues because of the high dollar amount policy. If this is your only policy, the price will be higher if you let it expire or you do have some health issues. The term policies do not offer the cash value. However, there is something that's built into some term policies, and it's called ROP, which is return of premium. So there's a way to kind of upgrade this policy, if you will. So like you can say it's temporary, but when the term ends, you can do the return of premium and then you would then get all of your money back. So term insurance, while it's cheap and temporary, can be used for key things like paying off your mortgage, covering some expenses, and then you can use it kind of as a savings vehicle because you can get your money back that you've put in. That's not on every company's policy, but I do offer some policies that offer that. The next type of insurance is whole insurance, and this is permanent insurance. The advantages of whole insurance is you are covered for life. So if you buy it at $10 a month and you pay it, you will have $10 a month insurance for the duration of your life. Some of these policies grow cash value or dividend options. These policies have level premium. So again, what I just mentioned, you buy in at 10, you pay 10. These policies have the living benefits, which you can use while you're alive. And the whole life policies are specifically where you use the infinite banking concepts and you set up these policies to be your own bank. Whole life also includes final expense policies. And what a final expense policy is, it's something that you buy for someone 45 and up. It's typically less health restrictions, or it's for our older parents and we're kind of looking for funeral coverage. Most of them kind of max out at like 40 or 50K, but it's basically an affordable way to get coverage on our parents. So a lot of, I talk to a lot of people our age about getting final expense policies for their parents. Also, child policies are also whole life. So again, if you guys think of the Gerber baby trend, when you buy in very cheap, you can get your kids covered for a long time. The disadvantages of whole insurance is it's going to be more expensive than term. These policies are considered long-term investments. So it's more of a alternative to your 401k, it's alternative to an IRA, but you're going to think long-term with these policies. And then you're also going to think of long-term savings. Some of these policies have guaranteed returns. So when I'm talking about dividends, as the insurance companies invest and take profits, they give them back to you. So your policy, you may have a $50,000 policy, but by the time you pass away, the policy may be worth, I don't know, 75,000 just based on the interest and dividends it's paid over time. So a whole life insurance policy is permanent, and it's also can be an investment vehicle. And so if we're thinking about like, if we can compare these to cars, so like your term insurance might be your Toyota Corolla, right? This whole insurance policy might be your Lexus. And then this indexed universal prime policy I'm going to talk to you is kind of like the Ferrari of life insurance, if you will. So the indexed universal insurance, again, is permanent. These policies are specifically designed for cash value and growth. And when I'm saying that it's indexed, it's indexed because it's tied to an index, quite honestly. So the NASDAQ is the top 500 tech stocks in America, and then the S&P 500 is the top 500 companies in America. And when your policy is set up with this index universal life insurance, basically the policy takes the market gains, it does not take the market losses. So a benefit in this case that I can directly tell you is your index universal life insurance policy is going to do something similar to your 401k. The difference is the index life insurance policy is going to take the market gains and be floored at no losses. So if the market gets 6% interest that year, your account gets 6%. If the market is negative, you take no loss, because insurance policies that are set up this way don't take the loss. Your 401k and some other investments are going to ride the wave. So that's why when people are like, oh, the market crashed, I lost all this money in my 401k, it's because they take the floor and the ceiling. So they have to take the gains and the losses. So in these life insurance policies, you just take the gains. That's the benefit and why they're so much more secure. An index universal life insurance policy, if you guys have ever heard of the $1 million baby strategy, where people typically say, I can afford to put $100 into this savings or into this life insurance policy for my newborn baby. Essentially, at age 65, that life insurance policy will have just gained in pure growth over $1 million at your baby's then retirement age. So when you think about life insurance, the other thing is some of these vehicles, you have to think in terms of like generations, not so much decades, right? So some of them are set up for your own life and income, and then some of them are set up to set up your family when we're thinking about generational wealth, and we're thinking about really making an impact for your last name, for your business, and different things that like we're kind of in the process of building in our generation that we want our children to kind of carry on. So this is where you use like these index universal life insurance policies. Great for people with additional income that can overfund. And what I mean by overfund is, for example, if you are 18 to 25, you want to be able to save like $100 to $150 a month into this policy. If you're 26 through 35, you want to be able to contribute like $150 to $300. If you're 36 to 45, you want to be able to do $300 to $500. So as you guys can kind of see, some of us have room in our budgets for that, some don't, but it's basically, as this policy is one of those where like this is designed for cash growth. So even if you can put a little bit in it, it's going to gain something, and you're eliminating a lot of the risk that we take in some of the other accounts. The disadvantages of the index universal insurance is that it's going to be more expensive than whole life. These policies are definitely considered to be long-term investments. However, you still can borrow money from these. So these policies that are gaining cash value, guys, you can do what's called a surrender. Now, a lot of times surrender will have penalties. But again, if you are in a situation where you're like, I've saved this money for years, something happens, right? You have to tap into it. You can. You can take policy loans where you're going to take this money from the bank of you. So you're not going to be right at Bank One. I mean, I don't even think Bank One's a thing anymore, but you're not going to be at your local bank, you know, sitting there letting them go through your personal credit because no one is even asking your credit score for your life insurance policy, right? You're just tapping into the bank of you. And again, it puts you back in the driver's seat with your money, and that's always good. So guys, that is the 3 types of life insurance. I'm going to open it up for questions. I will tell you guys, if you're interested in doing this as a business down the road, I do mentor new agents also and help them grow agencies. So if you guys know anyone that's looking for that opportunity, absolutely put them in touch with me. And I'm licensed in multiple states already and basically can get licensed in any other state within about 24 hours. So I am available to help anyone that you guys have in your family nationwide. And so that's it for the presentation. And I will open it up for any questions.
Okay,
Amazing.
so
Wow.
I knew that was going to happen. This was powerful. Go ahead, whoever was speaking first. Was that you, Chantel?
I don't know, it sounded like we was all talking at the same time. So I had never heard of the last one you said, that universal, the index one. I didn't even know that was ever even a thing. I mean,
it's a newer thing, but I would say like 1970s newer. So I think we still should know. But it was kind of created as the alternative to a 401k. Because really what happened, the 401k was created for people after the Depression to keep putting their money back in savings, right? Because after the Depression, none of us wanted to go to a bank. We wouldn't want to do all those things. So like corporate America was like, how can we get people to, and so it was kind of that thing. But yeah, you tie it to the market and you don't take the losses. And it's not widely known about because they just want us to put our money in the 401k, ride the losses, right? Crash out and then be on Social Security and kind of be stuck. Yeah.
Yeah, that is something else. Like, okay, so my older brother, I know you had mentioned that you said you had taught about Forex. So he was telling me about some of the things that the banks do and that kind of thing. And with us going into unfortunately, it looks like a cashless society, the way things are looking, how do you think that like a policy, something like that would fare? If that makes sense.
I think it would fare great because here's the thing. I think that one thing I learned in Forex trading is the global powers that be, they're never going to let these markets crash. They never would let it crash. They're just not going to do it. They're going to battle back and forth, even right now, right? Like I think it's China, Russia, Brazil. There's countries that are moving away from the US dollar. And the thing is, the dollar is in so many foreign trade transactions. If I was another country, I'd want to be using my money also, right? And I wouldn't want to be under the foot of the dollar, so to speak. But one thing I would say is the powers that be are never going to let these financial markets crash. So they want us to think that. But I think the cashless society for me is more about the tracking piece, right? Because like all the apps we use, right? The Cash App, the Turo, like literally our whole cell phone is our whole life, right? Literally, I'm on Zoom, my whole presentation's on Zoom, my phone number, email address, like we put everything in these phones. And so I think it started off as a way of like, oh, it's convenient, but no, like they don't have our money. They're not printing this cash, right? Like on the slide, they can go take $18 million of our money and just go basically blow it. Because then they're like, oh, the FDIC will give them their money back. Like, no, I need to have my money a little bit more accessible. But I think the markets aren't going to crash. And these policies are set up too that you don't take the market loss. So like the stock market, I think averages like 6% a year. So if we have an account that's tied to the stock market, in essence, your 6% is always going to be better than what you can get in a bank. But what happens when right now, like COVID happens, like all of our stocks tanked, and now like our 401k went from, my mom personally, I think had like $200,000 in her 401k at one point, retired close to the crash and probably lost 12K, decided to work 3 more years. And, and my dad did the same thing. Like they keep going in versus like, imagine if we just would have known, no, when you start working, they're at 25, what did I say? Like this 25, put $100 into this index universal life policy. So when you get to 65, you got this insurance policy, you've got the 401k, right? Because you still do the company match. So I'm not telling you guys not to do like any company, wherever they're giving us the money, let's take it. But how do we just take that and do the rest on our side so we can be in more control of our money? But yeah, the markets, they're never going to let them crash, because they wouldn't crash our faith in these banks, because then we definitely wouldn't give them any money back.
I love that. Any other questions? Okay, well, I had a question.
Yes.
Let's see, I had 3. So my first question was, is there any penalties from like when you borrow?
No, because you're borrowing it from yourself. So there's no
no
fees.
You just have to pay it back right at a certain time or
Yeah,
something?
I think, it just pays. Yeah, and it would just be depending on your policy. So some of the questions, guys, we would have to take offline. I would have to literally just kind of run an example for you. But yeah, for the most part, you're just borrowing the money from yourself, and like you're just going to pay it back, like you would pay your monthly payment essentially if you take out a big fund, or depending on whatever the terms are that you set it up, would be the payback schedule.
Okay, and then my other question was, can you buy insurance for someone like without them knowing, your parent or something?
I would say yes or no. So technically, you would almost want to talk to them about it, because you just want to, because the insurance application is going to ask you, do they have insurance already? Is this insurance policy replacing something? So there's financial questions you would have to ask, but essentially you can cover your parents. You're just the owner of the policy and you're going to be the one paying for it, but essentially like the policy's on them. So there is a way to set that up. So like they know, but you're still basically in control of it. You're the owner. You're the one in charge of knowing where it's going to be, right? If something happens, so you're not like searching around and digging for something that you have and you can't find.
Okay, yeah, because my mom, she is just like, don't want to hear it. I'm like, listen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then my last question was about the becoming an agent. So can you talk just a little bit more about that? Like how much does it cost to get started? Is there a lot of training?
Yeah. So to be an agent, I don't ever want to make things too simple, but essentially you just get licensed within your state. So for the company that I work with and I represent, basically there's no fee to join, or anything like that. And it's not MLM. If you think about the insurance structure, it's more like real estate brokerage, right? So as you build your business and agency, it's more like that. Like, so there's no like requirements to do anything. There's no quotas, right? There's no cold calling or anything like that. And you basically just get licensed within your state. So you pay a fee for the study materials, and we use a website called Excel, and they do nationwide life insurance, health insurance, property cat. So all the insurance like niches, they go through this company to train. And then we do mentorship with you. Like personally, if you guys join me, like if you're like, I can't take tests, I'm not a well test taker, I'll study with you. We'll walk you through, but you basically self-study, and you can get through this material in a week or two. And then for your state, you would have to do the insurance license fee. Those vary. So like Ohio, for example, I think is 15. New Jersey's 170. A lot of states are like $40 or $50. So it's not too expensive. And then you would have to pay for your background and fingerprinting. So I think for Ohio, the fee of every single thing was like $172 total. And that's testing, background check, study materials and everything. And then one thing that we do offer in my company is if you guys join and you get licensed and you write up your first policy within a 2-week period, we actually reimburse all of the fees up to $200. So there are people that do it in 1 or 2 weeks. So you basically just self-study or study with a partner, take a test and go through fingerprints and background checks, and then you go through an appointment process, which is basically you getting contracted to sell life insurance. And we represent multiple companies. So and that's another good thing, that when you want to be an independent agent, you want to be able to represent more than one company, and that's how you can do the different types of insurance, different policies. So you want to do something, I want to say, independently, so you can match up with other companies. But if you don't want to do it by yourself, there are insurance opportunities where you can do call center, you can do work from home opportunities. It's not what I do, but if that's more your niche, and I do know people that make money just from home answering calls and selling insurance. So there's kind of multiple ways that you can make money in the insurance industry. But for me, I'm just kind of entrepreneur, work from home, building a nationwide agency virtually.
Awesome. And it looked like you bossing at it.
I'm gonna get up and boss, girl. I'm out here. I'm out here.
Good. Any last
The other
questions?
thing I would say too about being an insurance agent is, when you're independent, also, like, I'm contracted with companies. So as you are writing policies, for example, if I wrote a policy on a Friday, you're getting paid on Monday. So some of these policies in these companies are instant approval. And you get paid, like, if it gets approved today and the person paid today, you're getting paid. So it's definitely an opportunity to do, I would say, minimal work kind of for a good payout, if that makes sense. So for example, my best check I've had so far is I made $1,000 commission, and I only talked to this woman for about 15 minutes. Like, she just showed up to the table kind of with what she wants. But most policies, you can make a couple $100 to $1,000, and a part-time agent, if you help like one family a week, you can get yourself a couple $100 easily. And we do pretty much everything on Zoom. There's mentorship. So if you guys, join for your first how many ever appointments until you get comfortable, basically it's just like this. We're talking to your family member, you're introducing me, I'm explaining it, and you're getting paid. So there's definitely earn while you learn opportunities. So if you guys want any more info, just, you guys can DM me on Facebook or my info here, and I can give you more info.
Okay, awesome. I have one last question.
Yes, ma'am.
For the index universal insurance, are you able to say like how much do you have to put in to start something like that? Or is it case by case?
It's case by case. Yeah. So,
Okay.
So for example, if you said, it's the person that puts in 50, obviously is going to grow less than 500. But, when you think about things for our children and into their retirement, like $50 a month for one of our school age children gets them good money, in retirement age, or even like when it's time for them, maybe like, our men tend to mature later. So if they're, you have a 7-year-old and you're like, maybe he can start saving this and then use this down payment for a house, men mature like at 30, 35, right? He'd have money to just borrow from himself versus the bank. So yeah, so you can do them for kids, it's lower cost, and then it just grows long term. So yeah, there's not a set budget really for any of these things, guys. It's pretty much when we get on the phone too, how I do the consultations is I more or less say, hey, we talk about, actually, I should have told you guys this. So what we talk about is what's called dime method, right? So we talk about any debt that you have. We talk about income. We talk about if you have a mortgage, and then we talk about like education expenses. Like, are you going to pay things for your kids? So we kind of look at your current financial situation, what you want to do in the future. And then I flat out ask you, what can you spend a month on this insurance that isn't going to take food off the table, isn't going to take care of another bill, right? Because at the end of the day, guys, the best insurance is the one that you keep, right? The one that you can pay for. It shouldn't feel like a bill. It should be a little more like, oh, I got a little $20 is going to give somebody $20K, in a couple of years. So you just feel good about it. But yeah, it's budget friendly. And then I shop around for the companies. And then, if we talk and we can't match something, and you're like, well, we'll just discuss it right now. I advise you the best I can, because at the end of the day, it's what's best for, you and your finances. But it's budget friendly. Insurance is budget friendly. It's not that expensive.
Hey, I like that.
Okay, I have another question.
Mm-hmm.
And forgive my silence on the last one. I will wash my hands. Don't worry about it. Sorry. So, I was wondering, I noticed that you said for the term that you could use that for, you said like mortgage proof or like
Well, you can use it. You can
protection or
use it
whatever.
as mortgage protection. So essentially, some people buy term policies. Typically, when you buy a house, because it's such a big expense, you
Mm-hmm.
would get, like, for example, what I did was, I think we bought a house and it was like two something. So I got an insurance policy that was like 300,000, because at the point when we bought the house, I was the breadwinner. So I thought if I died, my husband would get like 300K, so he would be able to pay off the house completely. So that's what we kind of mean by mortgage protection. Like, your insurance would cover your, protect your husband or whoever from having to, pay out the bill.
Okay. I was wondering, I'm like, because you can't borrow from a term
Yeah, you
policy,
can't borrow
correct?
from, you just kind of use it as personal, I own a policy that would pay off this. The whole
Okay.
life policies, though, and some of those where you would have cash value and that you're not touching, sometimes you can use those as like collateral for different things, is what I was saying. So different
Okay.
type of things.
Because I have a whole life, and what they told me was it doesn't start building cash value until 3 years.
That could be right. Yeah. Some of them don't gain right away, or it's really not meaningful based on like how they're set up. But that could be the case.
Okay. I was wondering, I was like,
Yeah. So
okay.
in your case, like, you would be someone, I would say we would just have to look at it, because you can, depending on the rate, like health and different things like that, you could look at rolling it into a different policy that gave you better cash value. Or at the end of the day, like, the whole life is more of a long-term investment. So if you're not tapping into it within like the next 3 years, that's still, I mean, a good policy to have, one that's going to gain the cash value. Because at the end of the day, we want some type of dividends and returns, on
Right.
some you're paying into.
Okay.
And
Thank you
shout
so
out to
much.
you for being a single mom with your insurance. I love it, because people don't understand, like,
Okay,
people will
yes.
take in our kids, but we gotta help pay for those kids, because I want you to take them, but I
Yeah,
want you to treat them right too. I don't want you to have them, over there as
exactly.
burdens, and we gotta be responsible. So shout out to you, Mama. I love that.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yes,
This was
ma'am.
amazing, Rachel. Thank you so much. I learned so
Thank
much.
you.
I can't wait to connect with you. Listen, ladies, we're
Absolutely.
gonna honor Miss Rachel's time, and so if you guys have any more questions, meet with her, get these numbers, and set the call up. That's what I'm gonna be doing next. I'm super excited to get it for my family, and I'm just thankful, sis. Thank you for coming in here and
Absolutely.
pouring into us and just teaching us. I understand now, and I'm ready to get started. So thank you.
You're welcome. Yes. So any questions, guys, like, I mean, literally DM me, text this number, just find me. And, if I don't know the answer, I'll figure out who does. I cut a slide off, but I have mentors, guys, who literally wrote 400 policies, like a husband and wife. They are multiple six-figure earners. So, I'm really rubbing elbows with the right people to teach me the right things to spread. So if I don't know the answer, I'll figure out who has it for us, so we can get your family taken care of. So yeah, contact me, let me know, and I'll be in the group and on Facebook and, somewhere on social media near you. Especially since I got all this free time now, y'all.
I love it.
Get on that calendar, because I'm available.
Okay, get on now before she booked and busy. So I love you, ladies. Make
Yes.
sure that you are in the community. The replay will go out, and we thank you again, Rachel. Have an amazing night, ladies.
Bye, ladies. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a
God
great
bless you.
night.